everyone. I wanted to share another one of my favorite stories with you today. It's called Miss Rumphius, and it was written by and pictures were made by Barbara Cooney. And the reason I love it so much is that it reminds me of Maine, where I grew up. And the reason it reminds me of Maine is because Barbara Cooney spent a lot of time living in Maine. So let's get started. I'm looking for the first page. Ooh, here it is. The Lupin Lady lives in a small house overlooking the sea. There's her house right there. In between the rocks around her house grow blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. The Lupin Lady is little and old, but she's not always been that way. I know. She's my great aunt, and she told me so. Once upon a time, she was a little girl named Alice who lived in a city by the sea. From her front stoop, here's Alice on her front stoop. From her front stoop, she could see the wharves and the bristling masts of tall ships. There they are. All those things sticking up out of the water are the masts of the tall ships. Many years ago, her grandfather had come to America on a large sailing ship. Now he worked in the shop at the bottom of the house, making figureheads for the prows of ships. Here's the front or the prow of the ship, and sometimes they would put these wooden figureheads on them. So he would make figureheads for the prows of ships, and he would carve Indians out of wood to put in front of cigar stores. For Alice's grandfather was an artist. He painted pictures, too, of sailing ships and places across the sea. When he was very busy, Alice would help put in the skies. Here's Alice painting the skies, and here are some of those wooden figureheads he would put on the prows of ships. Here's her grandfather. Sorry, I didn't show you him. Here he is working on carving some decorations. In the evening, Alice sat on her grandfather's knee and listened to his stories of faraway places. When he was finished, Alice would say, "When I grow up, I too will go to faraway places, and when I grow old, I too will live beside the sea." "That's all very well, little Alice," said her grandfather, "but there's a third thing you must do." "What's that?" asked Alice. "You must do something to make the world more beautiful," said her grandfather. "All right," said Alice, but she didn't know what that could be. In the meantime, Alice got up and washed her face and ate porridge for breakfast. She went to school and came home and did her homework, and pretty soon she was grown up. Then my great-aunt Alice set out to do the 3 things she had told her grandfather she was going to do. She left home. There's a loud motorcycle going by. Did you hear that? She left home and she went to live in another city far from the sea and the salt air. There she worked in a library, dusting books and keeping them from getting mixed up and helping people find the ones they wanted. Some of the books told her about faraway places. People called her Miss Rumphius now. There's Alice Rumphius, all grown up. Sometimes she went to the conservatory in the middle of the park. Here's a picture of the outside of the conservatory. Here's a picture of the inside. When she stepped inside on a wintry day, the warm, moist air wrapped itself around her, and the sweet smell of jasmine filled her nose. "This is almost like a tropical isle," she said, Miss Rumphius, "but not quite." Almost like a warm tropical isle. Ooh, so Miss Rumphius went to a real tropical island where people kept cockatoos and monkeys as pets. Some monkeys as pets, and here's a cockatoo on this boy's shoulder. It's kind of a bird. She walked on long beaches, picking up beautiful shells. One day she met the Bapa Raja, king of a fishing village. "You must be tired," he said. "Come into my house and rest." So Miss Rumphius went in and met the Bapa Raja's wife. The Bapa Raja himself fetched a green coconut and cut a slice off the top so that Miss Rumphius could drink the coconut water inside. That sounds delicious. Before she left, the Bapa Raja gave her a beautiful mother-of-pearl shell on which he had painted a bird of paradise and the words, "You will always remain in my heart." "You will always remain in mine too," said Miss Rumphius. My great-aunt and Miss Alice Rumphius climbed tall mountains where the snow never melted. She went through jungles and across deserts. She saw lions playing and kangaroos jumping. And everywhere she went, she made friends she'd never forget. Finally, she came to the land of the lotus eaters, and there, getting off a camel, she hurt her back. There she is on a camel. She hurts her back when she's getting down. "What a foolish thing to do," said Miss Rumphius. "Well, I have certainly seen faraway places. Maybe it's time to find my place by the sea." And it was, and she did. Ooh, this is where it starts to remind me of Maine. Ooh, look at that picture. From the porch of her new house, Miss Rumphius watched the sun come up. She watched it cross the heavens and sparkle on the water, and she saw it set in glory in the evening. She started her little garden among the rocks that surrounded her house, and she planted a few flower seeds in the stony ground. Miss Rumphius was almost perfectly happy. Almost. You can see she has a few things planted here. "But there's still one thing I must do," she said. "I have to do something to make the world more beautiful." "But what? The world already is pretty nice," she thought, looking out over the ocean. There she is on her porch. The next spring, Miss Rumphius was not very well. Her back was bothering her again, and she had to stay in bed most of the time. The flowers she had planted the summer before had come up and bloomed in spite of the stony ground. You can see them out her window right there. She could see them from her bedroom window, blue and purple and rose-colored. "Lupins," said Miss Rumphius with satisfaction. "I've always loved lupins the best." "Me too. I wish I could plant more seeds this summer so that I could still have more flowers next year." But she wasn't able to. Here's her house in the winter time. All that snow. Maine has a lot of snow in the winter. I don't miss that part. After a hard winter, spring came. Miss Rumphius was feeling much better, and now she could take walks again. One afternoon, she started to go up and over the hill where she hadn't been in a long time. "I don't believe my eyes," she cried when she got to the top, for there, on the other side of the hill, was a large patch of blue and purple and rose-colored lupins. "It was the wind," she said as she knelt in delight. "It was the wind that brought the seeds from my garden here, and the birds must have helped." Then Miss Rumphius had a wonderful idea. What's it gonna be? She hurried home and she got out her seed catalogs, and she sent off to the very best seed houses for 5 bushels of lupin seed. That's her ordering the lupin seed. All that summer, Miss Rumphius, her pockets full of seeds, wandered over fields and headlands sowing lupins. She scattered seeds along the highways and down the country lanes. She flung handfuls of them around the schoolhouse and the back of the church. She tossed them into hollows and along stone walls. Her back didn't hurt her at all anymore. Now some people called her the crazy old lady. Oh my goodness, that's not very nice. Here's another picture I love. The next spring, there were lupins everywhere. Whoa, look at them all. They're everywhere. All over. Fields and hillsides were covered with blue and purple and rose-colored flowers. They bloomed along the highways and down the lanes. Bright patches lay around the schoolhouse and back of the church. Down in the hollows and along the stone walls grew the beautiful flowers. Miss Rumphius had done the third and most difficult thing of all. So beautiful. My great aunt Alice, Miss Rumphius, is very old now. Her hair is very white. There she is. And now they call her hair is very white, and every year there are more and more lupins. Now they call her the Lupin Lady. Sometimes my friends stand with me outside her gate, curious to see the old lady who planted the fields of lupins. When she invites us in, they come slowly. They think she is the oldest woman in the world. Often she tells us stories of faraway places. When I grow up, I tell her, I too will go to faraway places and come home to live by the sea. Here's the little girl that's telling the story. That's all very well, little Alice, says my aunt, but there's a third thing you must do. What's that? I ask. You must do something to make the world more beautiful. All right, I say. I do not know yet what that can be. Here's that little girl gathering up some lupins and all her friends. I wonder what that girl is going to do to make the world more beautiful. What could you do to make the world more beautiful? If you liked this book called Miss Rumphius by Barbara Cooney, you could look up, or have your mom or dad or whoever's with you look up some of her other books. Another good one's called Island Boy, and then there's even another one called Hattie and the Waves, and they all remind me of Maine. All right, I hope you have a good day and do something to make the world more beautiful.